Hey guys, morning, Brandon with Scooterswapshop. Just want to go over a few items that we carry for the older style variated Honda Elites and Honda Aeros. This stuff will not work on the 84 Aero, but it'll work on 85 Aero, 86 Aero, and then the older style Elite 50s that are variated. There are some Elite E's and whatnot that are not variated, so this stuff will not work on your bike, but if you have the variated model, it will work. So a few things. First off, we have the Malossi Big Board Kit. This is the best kit on the market for your bike. There's some eBay options out there, but they're eBay options. So piston, cylinder, your rings. They leave the rings in here. I get a lot of people that say, hey, I didn't get my rings, Well, they're in here. That's how they come from the factory. So make sure you check in there for your rings. But really nice kit. Before this goes together, what I like to do is oil everything up in here with two-stroke oil, the piston, inside the piston as well, where your pin goes, all up and down here as well too. So when you're putting it together, everything's already lubed. So this kit will raise your displacement drastically on that bike. A couple things I want to show you. These reeds in this jet, they do not fit the bike because these kits are intended for engines that were sold in different markets, which got different carburetors and different intake manifolds. But you've got your exhaust studs. I like to put thread lock on these as well. You've got your wrist pin with your clips. Don't bend these clips too much. If you squeeze these too far in and you bend them and they fall out, they will destroy your cylinder and your piston. So I've seen it happen before where people bend these too much and they pop out. Or if you put them in, what I like to do, when I put my clips in, you've got the groove there. When I put them in, I like to take, and I actually like to rotate them around with a little tool to double check that they're 100% in that groove. I've done that every single time, and I have yet to have a single pin fall out on me. So again, real careful when you put the pins, the C-clips in. When you put the C-clips in, don't squeeze them down, don't compress them too hard. You're gonna bend them, they're gonna fall out at some point. It may be 10 miles, 5 miles, maybe 300 miles. They're gonna come out and they're just gonna destroy, they typically just destroy everything. So sometimes you can hone the bore to repair it, but it's just not worth it. Don't go down that road. So gaskets, exhaust gasket, copper, head gasket and base gasket. I like to personally use Honda Bond on the base gasket and then use copper Permatex on the top. You could really probably use either or on both, but that's what I like to do. I've never had a base gasket leak using Honda Bond or Permatex. Okay, so that's the cylinder kit. So if you're gonna run the cylinder kit and you're gonna use your stock carburetor, what you wanna do is purchase this jet kit. It's a Honda OEM jet kit. Comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12 jets in the range of 74 to 96. So this is your cheapest option versus buying one Honda jet at a time at $5.50 or $6. This is, you buy 4 jets and this kit pays itself off. So this will go for your stock carburetor if you've got this bike. Put this kit on, and then these are your jets you're going to use for the setup. You don't need an aftermarket carburetor. You don't need an exhaust for this kit. It's better to have it. Oh yeah, if you guys are asking about the stamp, my 5-year-old put that on me this weekend. Just noticed it's still there. So anyways, figured somebody would ask about it. So that's awesome. If you want super simple, reliable, you just want more power, this is gonna be it. It's relatively, this stuff is under $175-ish for both these products. So that's the cylinder kit. Again, you can use your stock carburetor, stock airbox, stock everything. So I'm gonna push this out of the way. Next, the Pelini Variator. So this again is the best kit for that bike. Don't need that anyways. That was a stock Boss I just dropped, or not the stock Boss, that was a Pelini Boss. You're not gonna use that one. You're gonna use your OEM Boss with this kit. So same with the Honda Ruckus and the Honda Elites. I like using the OEM Bosses better. So what you get is you get a pulley, Pelini pulley, you get a ramp plate with new guides, going like so, and then you get 2 sets of rollers. Let's see what we got here. You got 6.3s, and you have 6.9. So these typically retail for like 18 to 22 bucks a piece. So right here you have at least $36 worth of rollers. That makes the kit a really good deal. If you're heavier dude, if you're kind of a fatty, run the 6.3s. If you're a string bean such as myself, you're gonna run the 6.9s. So I'd start with the lighter rollers. Start with the lighter rollers if you're heavy, and the heavy rollers if you're light. So that kit alone, I've seen anywhere from 5 to 8 miles an hour, 5 to 7 somewhere with just this kit by itself. So the thing with these, why the Pelini Variators in my opinion are the best, is because a lot of the aftermarket variators such as the Malossi, the Boss size on the Malossi, where's my Boss? Here's my Boss. The Boss size on the Malossi is different than OEM. So if you want to run your OEM Boss in a Malossi, you can't without basically trying to file down that Boss to get it to fit. The Pelinis are nice because they rock the same outer diameter as OEM and inner diameter as OEM, so you get more options when it comes to changing your Boss out. So the benefit of the Pelini is your OEM Boss slides right in. The Malossi, it does not. So I tell people, if you're gonna get the Malossi, you're gonna have a little bit of a harder time getting your belt tuned perfectly because you can't use your OEM Boss. Okay, Variator out of the way. So those two together are probably the most common things I sell. I probably sell 200 of those kits a year, and I have yet to have a single one come back or have problems. My sister-in-law, I put that on her bike, and I think they rode that kit for, I don't know, 6 months without, or a few months without even adding oil to the gas, and it still runs. I wouldn't suggest it, but I have no idea how it hasn't blown up, but it hasn't. So next up, Malossi Carb Kit. So this thing is really sweet because you can bolt it right to your OEM manifold. So you don't need to change out your manifold. It comes with your choke cable kit, an adapter for like a pod filter if you want, and this guy here goes right to your OEM manifold, and then your carb clamps on here. It's a 19 millimeter. This is perfect for the big bore kit for this bike. So really awesome. Good luck with these kits. So if you want to do your carb, that's what I'd suggest. And then the other thing you can do is we make these billet adapters here in Portland, of course. So what this does is this allows you to mount a Dio style intake manifold. So if you want to run a 20, you want to run a bigger carb, you want to run a PWK, or have more options for carburetors, you just grab yourself that little adapter there, maybe. And what that does, the bolt pattern on Dio and the older style variated arrows and elites are the same, but this guy here, the hole, the opening on the arrow is bigger. There's a bigger gap. So if you're just to put this on your bike, you're gonna have this giant hole in your casing, in your cases there, which is gonna be a massive air leak. It's never gonna work. So we make this adapter that goes right underneath this guy, like so. If you have an intake manifold, it should already come with one gasket, and then we just Honda bond the backside. So this guy is required if you want to run a CT, a Naraku or Stage 6 style intake manifold, and that's just because the bolt pattern is the same, but you have a gap. You got a big gap on your bike on the top where the Dio manifold doesn't extend that far. So this is required if you want to run this kit. So we have everything: variators, clutches, CDIs, belts, clutch bells, gears, cylinder kits, cylinder heads, intake manifolds, carburetors, clutch springs, I'm trying to think what else, brake pads. So we have a lot of stuff for that bike. So if you have, and also if you're gonna get one of these adapters from this manifold, you need to make sure that you have a 4-bolt intake manifold. Now this sits on the actual case itself, because some of the older arrows had some of them had a 2-bolt intake manifold. So there you have it. You guys got any questions, send us an email or give us a ring about this stuff. We sell a lot of these parts for these bikes. They can be a lot of fun. You can get them up over 50 miles an hour with not a ton of work, and they're reliable and they're lightweight. So great bikes. So if you're thinking that there's not much for them and there's not much you can do, you're wrong. Great parts as well. Malossi's a killer cylinder kit. Pelini, Malossi. I mean, all this stuff is going to be really quality for your bike. So if you're going to have a nice Honda, nice bike, don't pack it full of Chinese junk, because then you've kind of defeated the purpose of buying a quality bike. So there you have it. You guys have any questions, let us know. Thanks for the time.